Hi, my name is Keri Barnum. I am the Executive Director for New Shelves Books, and this is Free Advice Fridays, the hour every week that we come together on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern to answer all of your publishing, book marketing, and writing questions. And we take live questions, but we also take questions by email, so feel free to send those in anytime, and that email is questions@freeadvicefridays.com. And there's an S at the end of questions and an S at the end of Fridays. So you can always email those in and we get to them during our live video. It is hosted on YouTube, so you can watch after if you can't make it 10 a.m. Eastern. With that, let's get started. All right, some good questions here. So Jacqueline is asking, please explain what expanded distribution means in Amazon Kindle self-publishing. How do I get distribution in Ingram to get into bookstores? So let's talk about that. Expanded distribution through KDP means that they are expanding their distribution outside of Amazon, which sounds really good, except for if you do expanded distribution through Amazon or KDP is effectively acting as the middleman. So if you do that, what happens is KDP will get your book up onto Ingram Spark. They're uploading your book to Ingram Spark, and they are entering into an agreement with Ingram Spark to get your book into Ingram Wholesaler. The problem with that is KDP controls everything. They will control your discount. They will control when your book's available. They can take it off. I mean, they control everything. Now, what we recommend and what I prefer is that authors go, and if they're self-publishing, they purchase their own ISBNs. Don't take that free ISBN from KDP, Ingram Spark, Drafted Digital, nowhere. Buy your own ISBNs. And you get those from Balker if you're in the US. That website is myidentifiers.com. You can buy a single ISBN, but most of the time, for most books, you need a separate ISBN for every single format. So if you've got an ebook, you need one ISBN. You have a paperback, that's 2 ISBNs. Hardcover, 3 ISBNs, and so on and so forth. So you'll run through those ISBNs fairly quickly. So I recommend that you get a pack of 10 ISBNs from Balker. That's the cheapest option as it's broken down, unless you're buying a huge book. We're talking hundreds. So 10 ISBNs, you get them, and then you use your one ISBN for your paperback, upload to KDP so that your book is available from KDP to Amazon. Then you take that same exact ISBN and you go over to Ingram Spark. You create an account and you upload your book there. This will allow you to use Ingram Spark for print on demand to get into Ingram Wholesaler. And that's where most libraries will order from there. Also bookstores, retail, gift shops, they will all order from Ingram. You need to make sure that you set your discount appropriately though. All retail stores typically are looking for a 40% discount, which means you have to set your discount on Ingram Spark at 55%. Because what happens is Ingram Spark will print your book, it's print on demand. They take their fees in the printing. They will transfer the book over to Ingram Wholesaler, who will keep a 15% cut. That's their payment for acting as a wholesaler. Then Ingram will sell your book to bookstores, retailers at a 40% discount. So rather than expanded distribution through KDP, I recommend that you take your book over to Ingram Spark yourself. But let's say that you didn't buy your own ISBN and that you took the free ISBN from KDP. If that happened, you are not eligible to go to Ingram Spark and upload the book yourself because you don't own the ISBN. You don't own those distribution rights. If that's the case, you can use expanded distribution. Just know, expanded distribution through KDP will get your book up into Ingram Wholesaler, but only at a 25% discount. That's set by KDP. They will not change it. That's their standard. So just know that most retail stores are not going to buy at a 25% discount. Even further, they can tell in most cases with a practiced eye that the book is coming from KDP. Amazon is the average bookstore's, retail store's biggest competitor. They don't want to support them. They don't want to give them any money. So in many cases, they will refuse to purchase for gift stores, retail stores, bookstores. Libraries, not so much. They can be flexible. They're not looking for such a big discount because they are not looking to sell for profit. They're looking for books that their population will enjoy, to put them out and just have them in circulation. So not so much a big deal with books or libraries, but with bookstores, it certainly is. So those are things to keep in mind as you look at distributing outside of KDP for Amazon. All right, my work in progress will be ready in February 2021, and I've not had any query luck ever. So I guess I'll self-publish again. Any thoughts or suggestions? Well, when you're querying, I think it's important that you really work to make sure that your query is concise, that it's got a hook. I always say short and sweet, but really what it is making sure that you are coming to the table with something original, or at least that you have a marketing angle in mind. And sometimes you can query for a really long time. I believe it was Dr. Seuss that was turned down by 75 publishers before getting one. Sometimes it just takes that long. And self-publishing isn't bad. If you are okay with self-publishing, you can do an amazing job self-publishing. You can make a lot of money and you can have complete control. So I think it's just important to evaluate whether you want to keep querying. If so, it may be smart to work with someone in the industry who maybe is an agent or who does things like that. I know right now Writer's Digest is doing a program that's a first 10 pages, and you're working with an agent. You can ask these questions. Of course, they're sold out right now, but they do have events in the future. So look into that kind of thing to get an agent's perspective on your query, on your pitch, if that's really what you want to do, is go through traditional publishing. Decide either way, and then I say get the help that you need. Work with professionals to make it the best you can, no matter what you decide. All right, what is your advice when dealing with small gift shops who do not have access to iPage or other distributors like a Barnes & Noble? How would a small bookshop purchase my book? Well, David, most small bookshops and even gift shops do have access to Ingram. That's how they buy books. If they carry books, very often they do have access to Ingram. Certainly bookstores, I don't care how small they are, they typically do have access to Ingram wholesale. However, you can always offer consignment, and consignment is where you essentially lend them the books at a specific rate, where they keep a certain amount and you keep a certain amount, and if they sell, they pay you for the books. If they don't sell, they eventually return the books to you. So consignment can be a really great option for really small gift shops, especially if it's something that's local. So consider that, and consider if selling direct is something you would be willing to do for certain instances when someone doesn't have access to Ingram. Yes, Christmas and New Year's Day are both on Fridays this year. And Vicky's asking, will we have Free Advice Friday? Well, guys, I love you a lot, but I will not be here on Christmas Day, so we will not be doing that. Let me think on New Year's Day, though, and let me know if we do have a Free Advice Friday on New Year's Day. Would you guys be around? Would you be interested? Give me that feedback, and then I'll make a decision a little later on about New Year's Day. But Christmas Day, I will absolutely not be here. I will be eating sausage balls and drinking coffee and watching my kids open their presents, whatever they may be. I guess I should start shopping or something soon. But let me know if you guys have interest in being here on New Year's Day. All right. Sausage balls, they're my favorite. My mom always made them. It was like our tradition, and so I carry that on. My mom's not here, and that's something that we do, and we always remember Nanny Lynn, so I love it. All right. How can we know that the title we choose is safe to use? I know we don't have to worry about copyright, but what about a trademark? How can you be sure that it's okay to use the title? Kathleen, that's a good question. I always start with my favorite, good old Google. So Google your title and see what comes up. There's also a trademark registry that you can search and search your title. So if it's something that you think may be trademarked, just go search it on the trademark site. It's not hard to do. I mean, those sites are never easy to navigate. There's a search bar. It's not super hard. So I'd recommend that you do that for sure. Otherwise, I think go onto Amazon, search the title, see what comes up, see if, keep in mind, you can use the same title for different books. There may be 5 books with the same title. Absolutely. What I always look for is when I'm thinking about a title, I search it and I see what books come up. Number 1, I want to make sure I'm not going to get buried in the competition. Number 2, I am checking to make sure that the book title I'm considering is not already taken by a really big name. That's when you've got more chance of it being trademarked or running into issues. So I think that's kind of what I look for is, again, the competition, making sure that it won't get buried. And also you can do a trademark search, you can do a Google search and kind of check it there. If it's okay in all of those places, I think you've kind of done your due diligence. Could it come up later? I mean, someone could trademark something after you've already published and then come after you. There's certainly different things that people can do, but I think that's kind of borrowing trouble. Do your due diligence and then put your book out there. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I made a 5-minute video as an author introduction interview and posted it to YouTube. It will be a series. How can I advertise or promote on YouTube for free and or pay? Well, you can always share your YouTube videos onto social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook for sure. You can also do paid advertisement, either directly on YouTube. You can use their ads. You can use Google ads. Or you can actually post to Facebook and run ads through Facebook. We do that quite a bit with New Shelves. You can do a lot of targeting. And so we target specific people like authors and publishers and things, and then we will run a YouTube or a video on Facebook and boost it that way. So you do have options. Aside from sharing just organically, you're generally going to have to pay for it though. Not too many advertisements are free. Let's see. Hi Anna, it's good to see you. Okay, what is the advantage of accounts with both Ingram Spark and KDP? I like this question because there was, I'm in a Ingram Spark group and there was quite a heated discussion this week about whether or not you need or should use anything like multiple accounts. Should you just use Ingram Spark? Because Ingram Spark does do ebook distribution and they do paperback and hardcover. You could theoretically use just Ingram Spark and have them get your books into Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Ingram Wholesale. Excuse me. And you could use the one thing to go everywhere and not have to worry about it. If you are into simple, if you want everything in one spot, go for it. However, if your goal is to get maximum profits while distributing your book, you go through several channels. KDP directly to Amazon. You will make the most profit on your books directly to Amazon. Why? Because Amazon owns KDP. They're going to give the best deals, the best options. You also get access to Amazon advertising and ads when you have a KDP account and your book's up there. So KDP's got value there. Ingram Spark is the easiest way to get into Ingram Wholesale, which is where libraries and bookstores can order your book. So it's kind of a no-brainer there for paperback. Also for your hardcover, Amazon doesn't do hardcovers, so Ingram Spark has value there. You can do your ebook through Ingram Spark. They're not my favorite. They are updating their, they're upping their game, but for ebook distribution, I personally prefer draft to digital, and they will, with one upload, get your book onto Nook for Barnes & Noble. They will get your book into Apple, Kobo, Overdrive, Hoopla. They get your book into a lot of places, and it's really user-friendly. Again, it's all about, do you want a simple platform where you upload your book into one spot, or do you want to take the time to have multiple accounts but make more money and have more control? It's up to you. You are the publisher. You get to decide what's most important, either the ease in one platform or the control and the profit. Completely up to you. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think that the answer is dependent on your goals. All right. Let me see. What does a gift shop or store have to do in order to qualify for an iPage, which is Ingram's ordering platform? They have to be a retail store and they have to apply. It's not super hard. They do have to do some paperwork, but if they are a retail store and they can prove that and they do the application, they can be considered for Ingram Wholesale. All right. Okay, and a follow-up question from Jacqueline is, if you do select expanded distribution through Kindle and KDP for your paperback book, can you take that back later? As long as you own the ISBN, Jacqueline, you absolutely can. You unselect expanded distribution, you ask them to take your book out, and then what happens, because Ingram Spark essentially already has your book uploaded, instead of uploading new in your own account, you put in a transfer addendum. It's just a paper that you fill out, you email into them, and they transfer the book from KDP's account in Ingram Spark to your own account. It takes a little while. There is a little bit of time where your book will come off of Ingram, but then it goes up under your own control. So you can absolutely do that as long as you own the ISBN. All right. I was told by a retired librarian that libraries are given a predetermined list of what they consider to buy. She was annoyed because they stymied her choices. Well, I've talked to librarians recently, and there's a little bit of both. They get a list of suggestions and things that they can buy. However, I have been told by librarians again and again, if the people who frequent the library are asking for a book, they have options to go buy it. And if they're really interested in a book and think that it would benefit their population, they have the options to buy it. There is kind of the regular books. I mean, there are just things that, yes, they're expected to buy. They're expected to have bestsellers, things like that. But they do have a budget that is discretionary depending on the acquisitions librarian. So there are definitely some choices out there as long as that they're available and appropriate. Now, I'm sure, absolutely positive, that changes from library to library. They will all have their different systems, their different rules and policies. But I've heard from very trusted librarians, and multiple of them, that they absolutely can order. And I will say that I see orders from clients all the time that would not have made it onto a list because they're new or they're self-published. So they can certainly order if they want to. They just have to want to, and you have to prove to them that they want or need your book. What is the best software for upload to KDP? Wilson, if you could clarify for me, because there's no software needed. It's just, it's a account you have to create online with KDP or with Ingram Spark, and then you just upload your files. If it's a paperback or hardcover book, you're using PDF files to upload. But if I missed the point, just let me know. Love this. We are considering creating an audiobook for a 6-month-old biography that is selling moderately well nationally. We are not convinced that an investment of $1,000 plus to create the ebook will result in a profit, but we fear we are missing out if we don't opt for the opportunities. What factors do you consider in determining the likely success for an ebook? I think you might have meant audiobook. Funnily enough, funnily, is that a word? I don't know, but anyway, I had a webinar for audiobooks yesterday with Derek Doker, and it was, I mean, it was super cool because I haven't done too much. We've marketed audiobooks, but we haven't created them. And so it was super fascinating to hear him. And Derek's philosophy is you can create a audiobook on your own with, you know, 100, funnily is a terrific word, isn't it? For 100 to 200 bucks worth of microphones and stuff like that, you can create your own audiobook. And exactly what he was saying, and as I was researching before this webinar, I thought it was so interesting to read the stats that since 2017, audiobooks have been growing. From 2017 to 2018, 36%. From 2019 to 2020, estimations from researchers are that it will grow 25%. We don't have the stats yet, but I would guess because of COVID, that's even higher. And by 2027, audiobooks are supposed to grow from roughly $3 million, or $3 billion to a $14.99 billion industry. That tells me that this is a growing thing, that there are people who will buy the audiobook, and that the people who get into audiobooks now will have a better leg up in the future. It's not as crowded of a marketplace. People who like audiobooks will like them, and that's it. There are tons of people doing that. We do have, give me a second here, I will pull, sorry you guys, I'm having to type. I think I still have that class up. And I will drop the link in. But for sure, if you're interested in that program with Derek, because he literally teaches you how to do it, we've got a special deal going on until Sunday night, $100 off this program, which is already super cheap and worth the money for sure. So I'm going to drop that in. Derek's program teaches you how to do this. Typically, as of today, I won't say, I know this is going to go on YouTube, so typically this program is several $100s, but he's got a discount going on right now where for new shelves, if you go and you purchase it with the coupon code NSB, it's currently $197, $200, and you learn how to do audiobooks, the specs. You get Derek to actually go through your audiobook, a sample with you to make sure that the quality is good. I was super impressed with everything he had to say, and we've worked with Derek in the past, and he's amazing. So check that out if you're interested. All right. And as far as are audiobooks worth it? I think that if you can do it for a small budget, if you have a following, if you have people asking for it, if your book is selling, I think audiobooks are worth it, especially if you are in nonfiction business. Memoirs are a popular one, mystery and romance and thrillers. Those are the genres that tend to go crazy with audiobook. All right. Yeah, Tara's saying definitely worth it. Less competition in audiobooks, and I agree. All right. All right, we have a 6x9 memoir that is a print-ready PDF. It has about 150 photos and will be hardcover. We are self-publishing and have been researching short-run digital printing, around 200 copies, but recently learned that Ingram Spark offers printing. Does Ingram accept already printed books? So this is a great question, Susan. Ingram does accept printed books, and they do work with distributors. The thing is that if you want to work with Ingram directly, you have to apply directly. In order to consider direct applications, they are looking for volume, multiple books from one publisher, and they're looking for sales. A lot of sales, thousands a month is generally what they're looking for in order to accept a direct relationship with a publisher. So at 200 copies, the chances of getting them are low. Not saying don't apply, saying it's low. Typically, if people are doing a shorter run and they would like to work with wholesalers like Ingram or Baker and Taylor, they're going to again have to prove that they have sales, that there is need, or they're working through a distributor. And a distributor is someone who has relationships with all of these wholesalers, and they are using their relationship to get you into the wholesaler. And with that comes a cost, of course. So keep that in mind. Ingram Spark does do print on demand for hardcover. It will probably be more expensive than if you're doing a big print run. However, you're not doing a print run and putting money up front, and you can get directly into Ingram wholesale. But I'll tell you this, that to get your book up there and to get it priced, there's actually a publisher compensation calculator right on Ingram Spark. You can go input your information for the book and roughly figure out how much you will make per book if you go with Ingram Spark for your printing and your distribution to Ingram. So absolutely check that out and see personally for you if it makes sense, is what I would say. And Ingram Spark printing, I've been happy with them. If you are going through a printer that is taking care and doing a big print run, the quality is usually better. However, print on demand is absolutely awesome. Most people cannot tell the difference. I will say that if I get a print on demand book, I'm not looking at it, picking it apart. Now, if I'm looking at an offset print and a print on demand book side by side, you'll be able to see differences, but the average person will never notice. If you are doing full color, if you are doing cookbooks, really detailed children's books, that's when you tend to notice more. But again, it depends on your book, and the average person's not going to notice too much. And a friend has extra ISBNs and has offered to sell us 2. Can you upload to Ingram that way? There are certain things that you just don't share, like your toothbrush and your ISBNs. That's kind of how I feel about it. If you are publishing under your own name, you just don't share those things. Go to Bowker, get your own ISBNs. Yes, you'll have to pay the money. Don't go through a third party. I don't care if they are a big company saying, oh, we can get you an ISBN and a barcode for cheaper. I don't care if it's a friend. We just don't share ISBNs. It's kind of a thing. So go get your own on that for sure. Yes, it's against Bowker's terms of service to transfer ISBN. So what people don't realize is that if you are getting an ISBN from someone else, they are technically the publisher. They are technically in control of your book. That's why we don't encourage it, because that's what's happening. KDP has bought thousands of ISBNs at a discount, and they're stamping their name on your book, whether you realize it or not when you take their free ISBN. Same thing. A friend may be well-intentioned, however, I stand by that it's a bit like taking a toothbrush, and we should keep our own. All right. And if you do accept a KDP ISBN, can you take back that and undo expanded distribution? You can, but again, you can't take that ISBN over to Ingram Spark, and you should not have the same book, the same edition out with multiple ISBNs for the print. So you have the option of either keeping expanded distribution, or you do a second edition of your book with a new ISBN, and you upload with your own ISBN to KDP and to Ingram Spark, and you cease printing of the first edition. So there's that option as well. Yes, Randy made a note about be careful with the ACX contract. ACX for audiobook is through Amazon. They do have exclusive options, and that kind of puts you into it's a contract, it's exclusive. So there are ups and downs. Again, that webinar we did with Derek yesterday was fantastic. He talked about that as well. And for anyone wanting to watch that, I know we're putting that webinar up for replay at newshelves.com/audio. And I believe that my beautiful, wonderful assistant and sidekick, Anna, was working on that with Amy. So newshelves.com/audio, and that should be up in a couple hours if you wanted to watch that replay. Man, you guys have so many questions today. I love it. I ordered my PCIP data block a few months ago. At the time, I was planning on publishing the book in 2020, so that's how I ordered the PCIP block with the date of 2020. However, because of delays, I won't be publishing the book until early 2021. Do I need to update the PCIP data block? Well, having the marked record with the date of 2020, even though the book is not being published until 2021, hurt or affect my publishing record? David, I wouldn't say that you need to worry about it. I don't think it will hurt you. However, it sure doesn't hurt to update your information. And most of the time, if you go to the person who created your PCIP block and you ask them about it, they will be the best person to give you the information and update if necessary. So if that happened to be the Donahue group, just ask them. Pat, Tana, they are all fabulous, wonderful people. And so just go ask them for updating it. Tara saying she updated a PCIP last night. Exactly. Go ask the person who created your PCIP. They, I'm sure, will be helpful. And like I said, I know that if it's the Donahue group, they are amazing over there. So just go ask. It's always best, of course, to have the most updated information, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh no, it's wrong. Let's see. Yeah, so Wendy's saying, I have had trouble with Ingram with slight smudges on my cover. Could this show up more because it is a white cover? Yes. If you are doing print on demand and you have a white cover, you may end up with smudges, especially if your cover is matte and not glossy. So occasionally, and I think part of that is just, it's just dirt, it's just ink with a white cover. White covers can be super clean, they can be sleek, but there are some things that can come up with that, such as smudges. Maybe consider trying that in a glossy cover. And I will say that that is with printing offset too. I mean, it's one of the drawbacks to a white or a very light cover. All right. Yes, Nancy's saying during the webinar yesterday on audiobooks, the topics of ACX and Find Away Voices was discussed. And can we discuss the differences? Yes, yes, yes. So ACX is the Amazon Creation Exchange, and that is Amazon's arm of audiobooks. Think of ACX as the KDP of audiobooks. So ACX is where you can go and you can create a book and you can distribute directly to Audible, because Audible is owned by Amazon. So if you want to do that and you can work directly with ACX for Audible, absolutely you can. However, if you want to go broad, if you want your book available outside of Audible and outside of Amazon's little dominion, you can go to Find Away Voices. And Find Away Voices is the sister company of Draft to Digital. All in the family, right? Sorry, Bob in the Peanut Gallery is giving us fun facts. I'll share in a second. But anyway, so with Find Away Voices, if you put your book there, they can distribute your book to Audible. You can still get your book in Audible and go through Find Away Voices. Find Away Voices will also get your book up everywhere else. Kobo, it can get you up into Overdrive. They can get you into, it's not iBooks, but through Apple, you have more options. So there are two options. If you go through ACX for Audible and you go exclusive, they give you perks, like you don't have to pay things up front and different things like that. So you kind of just, again, have to evaluate your specific goals and then decide from there. One's not better, one's not wrong. You have to decide your goals and go from there. If you are creating your own audiobook and you control everything and you have all of the files up front and you don't need someone to cover the cost for you, Findaway Voices is a really good choice, and I would consider that because then you have more options. You can do a Chirp discount book and actually do a BookBub with it, kind of like BookBub. Chirp is in discount audiobook options. So if you've got your files, if money up front to get your files done for your audiobook is not an issue, I would consider Findaway Voices, and Derek kind of backed that up. So. Yeah, that's important too. Tara's mentioning that with audiobooks, you also want to think of where in the world your book may be popular for audiobook, because ACX um, only goes to certain countries. I don't remember the list, but they only go to certain countries, and Findaway Voices has a broader distribution arm. So keep that in mind as well. And then what made me all distracted, I will blame you, Bob Eckstein, is he said Monty Python's book had intentional smudges on the cover and created a major problem with returns, which I love that. Fun fact. Thank you, Bob, for sharing. Let's see. That's all it is, Wendy. You should just say it's intentional. It was purposeful. All right. Oh, thank you, Jacqueline. She said she heard about free Advice Fridays and new shelves from the Authors Guild, which is awesome. I'm so glad you joined us. All right, Julie says, we published a paperback this summer fulfilled from our website as publishers and soon after publication via Amazon Seller Central. After a couple of months of robust sales, we also posted the file to Ingram Spark because the book is of national interest. Almost instantly, Amazon seller sales went to zero because the book was available not just from us, but from big discount third parties who offered a lower price. Is there a way to prevent that? No. Unfortunately, the way that Amazon works is that if your book is available through Ingram, any retailer can buy it and they can resell it. They can resell it on Amazon through Seller Central. Absolutely. This is one more reason to use Ingram Spark in tandem with KDP, because if you have your book up on KDP and Ingram Spark, yes, another retailer can buy your book at a retail discount. You still get paid for it. It's just at the discounted price through Ingram Spark. They can buy that book and they can list it on Amazon as a third-party seller. But if your book is also available through KDP, KDP's book will always rise to the top. Their button for sales will always rise to the top, which means you're more likely to get full price royalties from KDP if you're selling your book from KDP to Amazon. If you are, in Julie's case, going through Seller Central rather than going through KDP because you've got an offset print run of books and you're selling them as a third-party seller yourself, you can lose that button. If someone else is selling the book for cheaper than you, what will happen is their buy button will go above yours and they will probably get the sales. Again, it's really important to realize that you're still getting paid for that book, but you're getting paid the price of the retail discounted book on Ingram Spark rather than the price, the Amazon price, or you're making more money as the seller or the third-party seller on Seller Central. It is one of the pitfalls for sure, and that's when I again say, look at your goals. Is having your book available through Ingram Wholesaler and having your book available to bookstores and libraries important enough to keep it there? If so, then it's one of the things that kind of stinks, but it's worth it to you. If not, if you're not selling through bookstores or retailers, then maybe it's not worth it and you take it down. Personal decision. You have to know your sales and what your goals are and go from there. But that is a definite pitfall of if you're doing a offset print run and selling through Amazon, through Seller Central instead of through KDP. I'm sorry that's happening. That stinks. Yes, Wilson's asking, Wilson is asking, does Ingram Spark distribution reach into Canada for Canadian libraries? Yes. Ingram Spark, when you are uploading your book, you have the option to put your book into other markets all around the world. Canada, the UK, Japan, all over the world. I mean, so many options. Yes, if you put your book into distribution in other countries, it will be available, including Canada. So absolutely. You can also do their, I'm going to bungle the name terribly because I want to call it the world distribution option, and that's not it. There is a button where you can kind of push the button and it will put it into all of their markets outside of the US, and they will match your price to your US price and convert it for you. Global Connect. Thank you, Tara. Tara's like my brain when I lose it, which is pretty often. So I appreciate that. Global Connect allows you to push the one button. They set your price for every market and they match it to the US with conversion, and then you can set it that way. So absolutely you can use Ingram Spark for global distribution for print on demand. All right, I mentioned in the beginning that we had email questions in, and we have been so busy today, I haven't gotten to them. So let me ask. All right, we have a question from Joan about Amazon has discontinued their free Yassiv tool. Yes, Yassiv used to be something where you could type in a book title or name and it would create this cool web of other products on Amazon that were linked to that title. Super awesome for market research, and they have taken that down. And the question is, do you know if this is returning as a paid subscription? And the truth is, Joan, is that I have heard rumors of this, that they will be bringing it back as a paid subscription, or that they will be selling it to someone else to use. However, that's been unconfirmed. I have not actually gotten a solid answer there. It is something I am absolutely watching for sure. Yes. Well, it's not that when Amazon changed its algorithm, it didn't necessarily break. What happened is that they took it down. They realized that people were using this. They were creating tools to use Yassiv and then selling it. And I think Amazon realized, hey, if they're going to use our information and turn it into a paid tool, why aren't we making that profit? And then, of course, there were Amazon algorithm updates and things like that, so they took it down. It was run by Amazon, and so they were in partnership and not so much anymore. We'll see what happens. I think that, again, Amazon realized that if anyone was going to make money off of that, it would be them. Yeah, let's see here. And will it come back up? I don't know. It may never come back up. It may just be something that Amazon keeps under their hat. We'll see. All right. Genre dilemma. Let's see. I'm having a hard time designating a genre for my book, The Angel Records. It's a coming-of-age memoir wrapped in a fictional, metaphysical story about angels, demons, a secret soul, an alien, and a genie. All right, and it also deals with family dynamics, young love, adolescent fear, and anxiety. So we've got a lot going on in this book, and it's not a dogmatic book in spite of its Christian content and archangel protagonist. It's perusing the Christian fiction books at bookstores. I couldn't find anything that even remotely resembled my story. I believe readers who enjoyed Good Omens or the Cosmic Logos or Lucifer will connect with my novel's theme. So, Debbie, I would say it sounds like your book is fiction. And if it is fiction, that's where I would place it. Even if it's based on truth, I think it's really important that based on a true story is not the same as a true story. It sounds like it's fiction, and if it is, that's where it needs to be placed, whether it be Christian fiction or metaphysical fiction. That's where it needs to go. Keeping in mind that a biography, a memoir, really needs to be firmly placed in truth. If you're bringing in fictional characters, if you're bringing in fictional story, then it's fiction. my 2 cents. And so that's what I would put it as. I also think that a story with so many metaphysical things and so many different pieces will probably do better in the fiction realm as well, as far as marketing and sales. Yes, if you place your paperback on Ingram Spark for wide distribution, does this mean you can or cannot use the wide paperback distribution on Amazon KDP? You cannot use both. It's literally not possible. Ingram Spark would flag you and say, hey, this is already a taken ISBN. So you either use expanded distribution with KDP, or you use KDP and the same ISBN goes over to Ingram Spark, and you are doing your own expanded distribution through Ingram Spark. But you cannot do KDP expanded distribution and KDP and Ingram Spark. It won't allow you to. It puts up the red flags and they say it's already in use. I like this. Bob, there will be no drinking games on Free Advice Friday because you guys are all safely at home in your houses, but I'm on camera and we do not want to get me having a couple of mimosas on Christmas or New Year's on camera. Just let's not go there. Maybe on our own. We'll do it on our own there. All right. Was wondering what would happen if I approved for a review by Publishers Weekly and ended up publishing before the 4 months they require. Do they check your publication date via Bowker, or is it the honor system? It's a little bit of both. Keep in mind that Publishers Weekly, if they decide to do a review for your book, they will they don't generally do your review right away. They may tell you on December 4th, today, that you are getting a review, and it may take 2 months for them to do that. That's one reason why they require the 4-month system. If your book is already published, could they decide not to do a review? Absolutely. That's their prerogative. It's kind of the honor system, but I will say that if you get a Publishers Weekly review and you tell them that you are not going to publish your book until April 4th, and then you publish it essentially February 4th, and they see it, they are not going to trust you in the future. It's not going to build up your name in a big way. I will say you can do kind of a personal release, a advanced release kind of locally or something like that. But if you are just totally giving them different dates, then I think, as many things, this is a personal decision. However, I will say that integrity in the publishing business means so much. People don't give you second chances. If you are dishonest with people, if you mislead them, they will remember that, and word gets around. The publishing community is small, and all it takes is one person over at Publishers Weekly saying, hey, we had this guy that was going to do we were going to do a review for him. He said that his book was going to come out later, and then it didn't. Then guess what? That person over at Publishers Weekly, who is a reviewer, may just know someone over at the New York Times, and that person may know someone over at Library Journal. Integrity matters, and that's why I think it's really important that no matter what, we lead with integrity in all things, whether you are a writer, author, publisher, if it's me, if it's New Shelves, integrity matters, and that's something we can control and we can choose. And so while it's a personal decision, I love all of you, and I hope that you choose wisely, that we lead with our name, because our name is something that doesn't change and it matters, and it's something that we can either stand proudly on or something that can get, kind of a bad rap. Don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. All right. Let's see, what are the pro cons of using KDP expanded distribution versus Ingram Spark? I think I kind of covered that earlier. I would only ever even consider KDP expanded distribution if I took their free ISBN, which I don't recommend you use. If you have your own ISBN, do KDP for Amazon, Ingram Spark for your Ingram wholesale, because that is how you have more control. That is the way that you are able to set the correct discount. Puppies. That's the way that you can set the correct discount in order to sell into bookstores. So if you want retail sales, if you want bookstores, then go through Ingram Spark for your expanded distribution. Don't use KDP. KDP is a middleman when it comes to Ingram Spark and Ingram. Okay. 11 o'clock, but I wanted to see if we've got any more stuff here on email. This is a good one. I'm about to launch my publishing company website, but I don't really have much information to add yet. Is it appropriate to display the book covers of my upcoming titles? Karen, the answer is absolutely yes. You can say a coming soon with your book cover. I see no reason not to do that. Or if you don't have a book cover, you can kind of have a grayed out book cover that says, it says coming soon or something like that in the book title and description. Absolutely. Tell them about your book upcoming titles. If you don't have an official launch date, it's fine. It's fine to say coming spring 2021 or something along those lines. Tell them what's upcoming and just make sure that you keep it updated as you move along. Yeah, Trina's asking, have we been approached about appearing at writers' conferences and publishing conferences? We have been. Many of those conferences are moving online. I know that both Amy and I are doing the Women in Publishing Conference, and there's a couple more later on in the year that we are talking kind of talking about. Yay, Terry's going to be there too. So there are conferences happening. A lot of them are planning to be online. The few that are planning tentatively for in-person have an online backup. So we will see if there are actual conferences or if it will still be digital in 2021. But conferences are absolutely still happening. I know Amy's speaking at a few. I'm speaking at a few, and I'm sure that we'll kind of move that on. And you guys, if you have writing groups, if you have conferences or different things like that, and you want a speaker, let me know. I love speaking to different groups of authors. So if you ever have a group that you're looking for speakers and you, if I'm not interesting, but I can pretend, let me know. Email me. Again, info@newshelves.com, and always happy to work with new author groups. See, does it matter whether you publish first to KDP or Ingram Spark? Is there some specific order? Does it not matter? Yes, it matters, but I'll tell you why. If you upload your book and you release it on Ingram Spark before KDP, Ingram Spark will automatically push your book over to Amazon. Then when you upload to KDP, KDP overrides that and pushes it out, and it can get messy. It can mess up orders and sales. I always say, if you are doing a paperback, if you intend to do paperback pre-sale, use Ingram Spark and switch over to KDP when it makes sense. Otherwise, I would absolutely say, if you are just launching your book, let it go at KDP first. Once it's live release distribution over at Ingram Spark, that's how I handle it. But again, if you're doing pre-sale, it's a little bit different, but for that purpose, KDP first, if you're just kind of launching and releasing as you go. Is there a list of the best conferences to attend? Terry, I'm sure that there is. However, I haven't created one. If anyone knows of a great list, please feel free to post it or put it into Free Advice Friday, and I will look for a good list for you, Terry. Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head if there's a really great list, but I will look for one and see if I can post it, and I will post that in the Free Advice Fridays Facebook group. Or if anyone else comes up with one, do that too. Yes. Michael's saying that sometimes they see third-party sellers on Amazon listing my book at a very high price. Why would they do that? Because they're greedy. The thing with third-party sellers on Amazon is they can list for pretty much anything they want to. They can go onto Ingram Spark and buy a copy of your book at a retail discount and then hike the price up. That's their prerogative. It's a book, especially if it's a used book. Sometimes you'll see an out-of-print book, like an old edition of your book. I had someone I talked to just recently. She was like, the old edition of my book that is horrible is on sale for $900. And that's just normal. People are like, oh, well, it's out of print. Maybe it's worth a lot, and they'll put it up for a high price. The price may go up and down. It's their prerogative. It's some third-party seller, wherever they may be, just deciding to put the book up for a different price, and they can. So I doubt anyone's going to buy it unless it is super rare, but they can do that if they wish. All right, I think we got through most everything. Karen's question. Yes, so Nancy is asking about Amazon ads and asking about bid amounts. So let's talk about that. When you set up an Amazon ad with bid amounts, there are options for your keywords. You can do a suggested bid amount, a custom bid amount, or a, what's the other one? There's custom, suggested, and then something else. But essentially what it is you are saying how much you're willing to spend at the top end for that keyword. There's a suggested bid amount that if it's a common keyword, they will say this is generally what the bid goes for, and it may give you a range, 48 cents to $1.48. And if you go with a suggested amount, it will probably pick somewhere in the middle, and then that's your cap. Or you can do what I do. I almost always do a custom bid amount, where I am setting a bid amount of 45 to 65 cents at max and saying that's all I'm willing to spend. If I don't get the keyword search based on that, that's okay, because I'm not probably going to profit if I'm spending $1, $2 for a keyword. I would have to have pretty much guaranteed sales to feel like that was a good conversion. So I, in most cases, will do a custom bid amount with what I'm comfortable with, which again, generally caps out at 65 cents. In some cases, it's as low as 15 or 25 cents. You just have to know, and obviously that affects your budget. If you have a $2 a day budget and you have a cap of 50 cents, that could be for keywords. Keep in mind that the way that the Amazon algorithm works when you are doing an ad is it's like these little bots are at an auction. And so what happens is that as you bid on these, it's these little bots working to see who wins out each time. So just because your cap is 50 cents doesn't mean it will cost you 50 cents. Just means you won't go over that. You could pay 2 cents or 17 cents. It's constantly a bid going on. It just won't go over 50 cents because that's your budget maximum. So I hope that helps a little bit. And again, it depends on your budget and all of that. All right, you guys, it's a little after 11. I think we got through all the questions today. If you have questions that you want to send us in, again, questions@freeadvicefridays.com. We do answer those, and then you can always watch live or the replay on YouTube, which is youtube.com/newshelfsbooks. And thank you for joining us. We will see you next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. I might even be on time next time. We'll see. And I hope that you guys have a beautiful weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.